Good morning, everyone. It is 5:01 a.m., May 6th. Today marks the 1 week anniversary. That's not the right word. This marks 1 week of trying to become a pro gamer. The last week was crazy for me. Between work, between gaming, between trying to figure out how I'm gonna make this all work, I was kind of freaking out a little bit. And I probably showed in my last video where I was all over the place. One of the things that I was blown away by was the amount of support I got on that first video. Even the second video was mind blowing. I was literally putting off looking at all the notifications because I was afraid someone was going to say, even if just one person said something like, "This is a dumb idea. What are you doing? How does this have anything to do with anything?" One of the things that kind of scared me was, what if people didn't get it? Like, what if people didn't understand what the larger goal was versus becoming pro was? And maybe people still don't get it. But one of my fears of people would say, "This is a dumb idea. It's not going to work." And I was deep down kind of hoping for something like that, hoping someone would say something like that. Doesn't mean does it like, don't actually write that if you don't feel it. But if you do feel it, I was kind of hoping someone would say it, because I'm going to explain a little bit more in depth in a little bit. Looking back at the rest of this week, it's very clear I have a bit of a commitment problem. I find it really hard to just completely shift and say, I'm no longer doing this thing that I was doing and I'm now going to do this thing. I find that really hard to do. And I think that's because I have this image of myself, and to change, it's very scary. Because once you decide to start doing something different, then it suddenly is like, well, what if I fail? Or what if everyone else sees me as a failure? I have this desire to hold on to this belief that I'm good at things, and I want people to believe that I'm the best at things. But changing and pivoting and doing something new and different, it means you're going to be the worst or bad at it. And you got to be okay with that. And I'm not. So that's where the biggest challenge for me was so far. Anyway, I've been playing a lot of Fortnite, and I wanted to show you some things in the game. So let's hop into the game for a second. All right, so here we are. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab a shotgun, and then I'm gonna break the llama and get a big pot here. So first thing I did, which is very different than how I was playing, was I switched up a lot of my keybinds. I used to have my shotgun on the F key. I now moved it to the E key. The other thing I did was I moved the E key, which was the use button. I moved that to V. And I've seen a few different pro players do this, which is why I made this move. V is something you actually hit with your thumb to open up chests. I've just literally been reaching over and pressing it with my pointer finger. But it is something that you can hit with your thumb if you want to quickly run by and grab things. Right now, I've just been using my pointer finger because I got really long fingers. So I figured I got long fingers, might as well use the keys. They're a little far away. So E and then T and C, those are the same keys I had before. And then C and Z at the bottom here. There's C and X at the bottom here. So those are the keybinds there. The other thing that I moved was the keybind for edit. So this is the main reason I moved the F key to the E key and then the E key to the V key, is so I could make edit my F key, which is just a lot more accessible. Another thing that I've changed regarding keybinds is scroll wheel edit. This is something that Illusion Numeral actually said in my Discord to look into, and I did. And it's actually really crazy. This idea that if you bind your scroll wheel to confirm edit and reset edit at the same time, then you can actually just immediately reset a wall, which means you can like do things like this where you're just shooting at people and resetting immediately, and that is really useful. However, when I did that, I used to build with my mouse. The problem was my floorboard was on mouse click. And with this reset edit, I would accidentally end up editing my floors. So I moved floor now to the 3 key. It says 4 in the bottom right, but it's both 3 and 4 is my floor, just in case I miss the 3 and hit 4 by accident. So now floor is on 3, pyramid is on 2. Another thing I learned is you can just some different moves that you can do here. This is something I saw Hamlin's do in one of his games. He was on a ramp here like this. He cut in half, and then he racks with a build like that. And I really like these little moves, because as you start recognizing them in the game, you can start using them. So cut in half, put floor, and then break back down. My keyboard's probably really loud right now. I just got really conscious of that. But what this also helps me think about is just being able to edit quickly, and then also flick shot a little bit with the shotgun. Something that I definitely need to practice with, because my aim with the shotgun is just freaking god awful at times. In fact, my aim in general is just really bad at times, and that's something that I think we're seriously gonna have to look at as how we're gonna improve that, because the aim is so bad that it's worth like spending a good amount of time to try to figure out how to get better at. Other thing I've been practicing is just building in general, because my building is very antiquated. So trying to get used to putting pyramids down. One of the things I learned from watching some Mongraal gameplay is when he's double ramping up, he'll actually go ahead and put pyramids above him. And what this does is it lets him, as you can see here, if someone's running up your ramp, you can actually trap them while you're double ramping. And what that does is it means that they can no longer run up your ramp. They have to go around it, do something to get around it that slows them down. That gives you enough time to make the turn and get on top of them. And just in the spirit of getting better at using pyramids and using my keybind, this is something that I've just been doing. Not necessarily that I'm going to do it too much in games, although I can imagine it'll be useful, but just being able to distinguish between the pyramid and the floorboard with my fingers, that's something I still gotta get used to. And then of course there's one of these guys, right? So there I accidentally pyramided, there I accidentally walled. So this one is still something that I am getting used to. So I got a lot of practicing to do here for this one, but this is one of the more useful ones. Of course, 90s. I feel like people have a weird obsession over 90s. I don't actually think they're as crazy useful as people say they are. I think a couple, like being able to do a couple 90s is fine. Here I am flooring myself. I think what's happening is I'm hitting my floorboard key a little bit too soon. Like I notice if I were to hold off on hitting the floor, like just at the right time, then it allows me to not floor myself. So I think it's all about timing on that floorboard key. Yeah, there we go. So it's about, I think what I'm doing is I'm pressing my floorboard key a little bit too quickly, and it's causing me to floor myself. And I noticed that especially when I'm at the bottom here, like just trying to do a couple 90s, is I'll get a little excited and somehow get underneath myself. So between getting used to the keybinds and just practicing some basic moves here, that's pretty much what I've been focusing on. Yesterday I did get my first solo victory royale in a long time. It was a 12 kill win. It was pretty solid though. What I realized was I'm actually getting a little bit disappointed when I get wins. One of the things I started doing was every time I would be in a game, I'd record it, and then I'd bring out this big red notebook. I would literally sit down and watch my gameplay, and I would look and write down every single mistake I made. And what doing that did was actually really interesting. What it did was, even when I thought, like, oh my god, that was so unlucky, or that guy got a lucky shot, that's bullshit. Even when I thought, like, those kinds of things, looking back in the gameplay and looking at the build fights or whatever happened, and just really critically attacking what I was doing, made it so clear that there's so many things that I could do better. Like looking at a build fight, like let's say the guy, he gets a lucky pump on me at a weird angle, and I go, god damn it, that guy got so lucky. Well, looking back at the fight, then you can see, okay, well, I messed up my floorboard there, I messed up the edit here, I was double ramping here, but then I missed the turnaround and I fell down a couple floors and I did this. And then looking at all these different mistakes, you can see how they all lead up to the event, which is the eventual death. And it's like, if those mistakes never happened, then what might have been the outcome? And when you can identify 6, 7, 8 mistakes you make in a fight or in a game, that's like, okay, I deserve to die. And that realization has been really, really powerful. But because I started looking and looking for mistakes actively in my gameplay, one of the things I noticed was when I first started playing again, I was so scared of dying, and I would go and I would hide in a corner somewhere, or essentially just like land somewhere random, farm a bunch of mats, get a bunch of loot, and then wait till end game, and then I'd go in. But then what I realized was when I would look at the gameplay, there's like 10 minutes of useless footage. And I was thinking, well, if we're going to really do this, we got to learn faster. We got to learn a hell of a lot faster. And what I decided to do was basically the faster you fail, the faster you learn. That became the motto. And I would purposely start landing in places that were hotter, places there I knew there would be enemies, so that I can die as quickly as possible. That was the goal. That is the goal. Every time I get into the game, the goal is to die. The goal is to put myself in a position where I'm going to die. Because every time I fail, I learn. And I learn a hell of a lot faster. The faster I die, the faster I learn. Which is why I was so disappointed when I got this victory royale the other day. 12 kills. I was going for the kills. I was pushing them hard. All of them were just kind of bad players. The goal is to continuously go up against harder opponents, continuously feel like these guys suck, and continuously try to find the challenge. Because I think only in that are we going to really get better. All right, guys. I'm going to check in with you later.